I'm going to pass it over to Blockdecentral to get us kicked off.
Yeah, all right. I think you might be mistaken for the previous panel, though, on those attendees.
Yeah, you did list the wrong group.
Excuse me. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong. Sorry, guys. I have a lot of notes everywhere. I apologize, you all. Sorry, this is Blockchain Card Games. Blockdecentral is still here as the moderator. We got Splinterlands, Ether Legends, Mythereum, and Ethermon represented. Guys, sorry about that.
Yeah, okay. No, it's no problem at all. I just want to make sure people got proper credit. Hopefully, everyone is alive and active in this on the crowd or stage. But yeah, really. So just to kind of start it off simple. I know we touched basis on the earlier one about the kind of differences with NFTs with older games like Magic the Gathering Online, Magic the Gathering Arena, other trading card games, and thereof like digital trading card games versus some of the crypto games that are currently out today. So I figured we'd just start off with seeing how you guys feel as the developers and workers on these titles. The differences between your games, the ones that run on the blockchain, and the more traditional style digital card games like Hearthstone, Magic Gathering, Arena, so on and so forth. And we can start on the either side, really, very left if we want to, with Jesper. Leave Mythereum if you'd like to go first.
And sorry, Jesper is having some microphone issues, so we'll shift to the right.
Then yes, we can move over and come back to him at the end. So then that would be Curran here. If you're,
I'm here.
Yep. Okay. Perfect.
Yeah. Hey, Brian. Thanks again. So I think in part what differentiates us.
Did he freeze?
I think so. That face looks pretty solid.
True asset.
Yep. It happens with these sort of things.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, but you did freeze up for most of that beginning statement, so I don't know if you'd like to repeat or.
Let me turn off the video. Stand by. Okay. Is this better?
So far, so good.
Okay. No, I think the biggest difference between mainstream and what blockchain is trying to achieve is basically content ownership. So you can tokenize data, that being trading cards, accessories, weapons, whatever that is. And then as opposed to mainstream where everything is centralized, it's owned by the game company. You have all of these assets that you can't really do anything with. So I'll give the prime example of World of Warcraft. Back in the day, I'm a 10-year of World of Warcraft, to say the least. I've played a lot. And I also remember the days of trying to sell your account and then getting banned for, ever. So then your account is just gone. But time invested into a game, I think, is key, where you spend a lot of time and you really want to get something out of that, whether that's, items, gold, skins, whatever it is in your game that you have. And then you can monetize that by doing tokenization of those assets. And if I'm done with the game, or if I want to be a part of the ecosystem of the game, I can trade those token assets as represented as my digital content. So I think personally, that's what separates us, generally speaking, from the AAA games, is that the user and the player is in complete control. They have total ownership, and I think that's, the main benefit to what blockchain has to offer.
Yes, I definitely agree with you there. I don't know, Eggrode, if you want to go next, if there's anything particular with your guys' games that kind of make it stand out from the traditional digital trading card game.
Well, generally speaking, I think blockchain enables some good stuff. You know, you get the benefits of physical card ownership. Now it's through a token. But then you also get the benefits of digital things that now are open 24/7. So, you know, typically for like Magic, you can really only play the old school game when the school is open, the store is open, or your brother's awake. But now you can really just do this whenever. So you get the convenience of digital, the ownership of physical, and then you also get this benefit of being able to earn while you play. So like in Hearthstone, you might actually earn something, but because you can't sell it, it doesn't have value. Whereas if you're earning rewards cards in Splinterlands, you're actually earning something of value. So I break that down as play anytime, trade anytime, and earn every win. And I think that whole system is unique to blockchain-based games.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And definitely one of the things that a lot of people have found irritating about these micropayments in, you know, these other games like Hearthstone, buying crates and whatnot, and then you have the games on the server or the cards on the server, and you can't trade them, you can't sell them, can't do anything with them, you know, in the account besides play with them. And so I definitely agree. Yes, well, you got your mic working yet? We good to go over there, or still troubles, I'd assume? Oh, or something. It's not. Okay, no matter. Hopefully he'll come back soon and whatnot. I know as far as a few of these games that, you know, with, as we were talking about quite a bit in the last panel. Sorry, give me 1 second. Ooh, my apologies. That, you know, with these Ethereum, you know, gas fees and whatnot, and, you know, some of the scalability issues on some of these blockchains that, you know, it can cause a bunch of hindrances for a lot of these titles. And I can imagine that being especially true for these, you know, the trading card games, wherein, you know, when you go and buy and sell, you know, some of these cards, depending on the marketplace, if you're, you know, using Ethereum, have it in like an NFT token, let's say, and you're selling it on OpenSea, you know, right now the fee for it, buying and selling it, is going to make it pretty much not worth the, you know, cost of getting the asset itself. Splinterlands, I know you guys are currently on Hive, and that has since allowed you to hold quite a few bit of players and transactions going through, and allowed your marketplace to be quite live and active. How have you seen that kind of struggle on the blockchain for scalability, and where do you see it going in the future as the game continues to grow in popularity and gain more you know, users?
Well, so when we first told people, we started on the Steam blockchain, which most people know from Steemit, and then we left it when once Justin Sun acquired Steemit. So we moved to the fork called Hive, and you know, when we first started on Steam, and really even since we moved to Hive, people have thought they often instead of Ethereum, and it's always with like some push of like, why did you morons do this? But you know, I do think that we could have raised more money having gone on Ethereum, because you know, if nothing else, the DeFi boom, it just shows how much people are willing to pump absurd amounts of money in through Ethereum apps. But in terms of usability, it's just the gas fees and having a per transaction gas fee aren't fun. So Splinterlands does things a little bit differently. All of the things that happen in game happen on chain. So it's not just that you own NFTs and then everything else is on a centralized server. Like literally every single card transaction, team I submit, battle I'm looking for, tournament I enter, all of that happens on chain. And that's possible on Hive, but as a group, we do something like 600,000 transactions per day. Yesterday, we had 130,000 battles. And so you can't, if every single one of those had a gas fee, one, it becomes, incredibly expensive, but two, it just stops being fun, right? Like if you as a player want to do 50 battles and you get charged 50 micro fees, which these days aren't even all that micro, that's just not a good gaming experience. So I think we missed out on maybe being able to raise some more money, but we've really been able to maximize just the utility of our game, how many people can play, how many people can interact. We almost had 7,000. We were just shy of the 7,000 accounts playing mark yesterday. So that was a new all-time high for us. And the one other thing I'd add about Hive as a blockchain choice is that the fees make it so that you have to own crypto first, because you have to be able to pay the gas fee and you need crypto, which means that your onboarding of a new user isn't simply come play our game. It's go to Coinbase, sign up for an account, transfer in some US dollars, convert it on the exchange into Ethereum, move that into a MetaMask wallet that you control, and then you can register for the game. And that is a huge ask for normies. Whereas with the approach that we've taken, because you don't have transaction fees, we just log people in with a username and a password. We create an account on their behalf that they get to manipulate using their username and password. And if they eventually want their keys, we just give it to them and they could change the keys or whatever. But for brand new players that are starting in, you don't need crypto, you don't need blockchain experience. And it's things like this whole system that we're building, I think, is really going to lend itself to allowing us to mainstream our app and hopefully be the first crypto app to really go full mainstream.
Yeah, it's definitely seen quite a bit. I believe I heard from Dap Radar John earlier that it was #1 still for quite a little while on the game section through the site. So definitely getting quite a bit of users, and that answered most of pretty much the question of trying to advertise the game and get users into it, because of as you went through the very long and extensive process of trying to get a wallet and get everything set up to jump into some of these other games. I don't know if Jespa's mic is working yet, but I know at least Ether Legends, I believe, is also running through the Ethereum blockchain. So I don't know if you guys have any sort of scalability solutions that you found, or any methods to work around this within the game, whether it be on a server or through other means. But I do know that quite a few titles have been looking for alternatives other than Ethereum to transfer their games over to, just because of the amount of users it can hold, and the amount of transactions it can go through and the price of it. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. So everything that was just said about Hive Chain is the opposite of what Ethereum is dealing with right now, which it's difficult to onboard players without a multi-step process. We have done extensive research. We've actually deployed all of our own contracts to Matic, for example. But to be completely honest, nothing against Matic, by all means. There are limitations that we find within how we want to employ our ecosystem. And the best fit for us at this time was going with Engine. So I think everybody understands, hopefully, who Engine is. And they are building a scaling solution that eliminates all the fees, but it does not address the onboarding of gamers to get into a game and buy crypto from Coinbase and so on and so forth. So our path right now is to go with Engine. We've talked about multi-chain solutions as well, whether that's Hive, whether that's Wax Chain. We've been looking at other ways to solve the issue, because I will tell you, just to be honest with everybody, and I think everyone can agree on Ethereum, it's been crippling. We set up I heard somebody talk earlier about, wouldn't that be cool if you could have this sword in the game and it shows up visually? And we set up something called forging, which allows you to kind of manipulate and forge two NFT assets together and that was all done on the blockchain. We literally released it right when the fees went crazy. So it's been unfortunate for us in the standpoint of investment of time into trying to roll out an ecosystem that something out of our control is no longer supported. So we've taken a few avenues in looking at how the forging element, which is a critical part to our game, how that would work, where you could accomplish several things off-chain, and then with Engine's scalability solution, you could issue a particular asset for how you kind of decide you want your character to be or to look. So ultimately, our long term is to stick with Engine. We are going to continue investigating other chains as far as just propagating the game, and seeing the success of Splinterlands is actually something that's really eye-opening and important, because I think on Ethereum, gamers are really being left behind. Gamers and players and developers, especially with the DeFi boom, because gaming may be 100 million of a 300 billion market, and there's no love and there's no attention. So we got to kind of work through it and do our best.
Yes, you make some excellent points there, and I know a lot of people have been looking at Engine, a lot of developers for scalability and just using the Unity platform to make just kind of overall more quality coded and detailed games than what a lot of Solidity and Ethereum can do at the very moment. And so hopefully that works out. But I know you guys are doing something quite a bit different as far as actually minting the QR onto physical versions of the card and then having two different versions of the game. Has there been a lot of challenges in this current ecosystem as well, as far as like trying to mint physical versions of the card, and as well as like the quantity? Because I know that right now they're being sold individually, and that most decks take a decent number of cards to set up, as well as getting more packs and whatnot.
Yep.
So
yeah, sure. So I think the simple answer, so to kind of back up a little background, is that the entire concept actually started as a physical trading card game, and we were able to figure out a way to actually create unique QR codes for each physical card generated, where you could scan the card and then it would redeem it directly to the blockchain. So you kind of have that tether ability. If you don't want to do it, obviously you don't have to scan that card. But with the environment, that is a transaction to redeem the card. So based on the fees, I don't even know what that would cost. But we have been in discussions with Engine to adapt that QR function. And that's another thing that Engine has to offer is they do QR drops, and they're releasing that aspect to developers that you can create one QR code, you can create 100 of the same item, and in conjunction with that scalability solution, there will be no fees associated with redeeming that asset. So we've kind of taken a pause on producing, just because of the gas crisis, producing additional trading cards with the physical QR until we can come up with kind of that generation 2 with Engine feeless, so we can roll that out in our, I would say, mass expansion of physical trading cards.
Very interesting. And I know I have a few myself, and I absolutely love them. Hopefully that something comes up where it can definitely be pumped up, because I know a lot of people have been looking forward to and slowly collecting up quite a bit of cards, for a deck to begin playing, and they're very nice. I know the artwork on a lot of them are very unique, and I am definitely quite a fan personally. I know just to mention for anyone that might not be checking it, the text, I asked Jespa a few questions about Mythereum and the, scalability issues and whatever on Ethereum, and there's quite a bit in there. So if you want to hear that side of it, you can feel free to go and check that out over in the chat. I don't see any other questions.
Hey, Brian. Yep. One other thing I might add is, a lot of questions came up, even with moving to Engine for us. It was, what's going to happen to my assets? Am I still going to be able to redeem my QR codes? So those smart contracts will exist indefinitely in able to, if you have a QR that you haven't scratched and you want to scratch it 10 years from now, that smart contract will be out there. So I want to reassure people on that. The challenge, obviously, is gas and timing. And I'm going to mention the word ETH 2.0, which we don't know when ETH 2.0 is really going to occur. I know they're starting in their testnet. But the hope is that emplacement of architecture will remain and exist, that will leave in place as well. So if Ethereum gets better from a scaling solution, from a bottom line architecture, that's something that maybe it's a year from now that will still be out there. And if fees make sense, people can still do what they need to do with those current assets. So there's no taking away of what we've created so far.
That's definitely reassuring, and we know that big part of the reason why a lot of people are for the blockchain is the fact that it is immutable, that everything that is on there stays on there, and so it's nice that you have at least that sort of security in the game, or in the cards at least, that you can, as you said, scratch and redeem it 10 years from now or whatever, so on and so forth. Plus the fact that, while a little bit more expensive, actually having the physical cards with the QR, as you were kind of mentioning, sadly not so much right now, but not only will you be able to play the digital version, online with anyone all over the world, whatever, connect with all these people, but if you and say, your friends or whatever have, a decent collection of the cards, you can then, play it in person and on a more personal experience. And as far as that, I know I mentioned slightly in the other panel that some earlier games like CryptoKitties, how they just have like a picture, on a square kind of like trading card looking, thing. It's like, here's your cat, you get it, you have this asset. In, I know, Mythereum as well as Somnium Space, you can do things with those CryptoKitties now. Like in Mythereum, you can transfer it over to the Forge within the game, at least when it was live, and convert that CryptoKitty into a trading card that would have its own, stats, be part of its own set, have its own unique like rarity. And in Somnium Space, you can take those CryptoKitties and turn them into like 3D virtual moving, kind of lifelike digital cats, which with that platform in particular has VR capabilities, so you can put on a headset and walk around like it would be, like your own, digital live pet. Do you see either of your games, any of the games, evolving to further kind of implement these kind of next-gen technologies in a way that'll to allow users more kind of like freedom and like the more ability to do extra with it, like to trade it between games, to prolong its life for say, or like to add this extra content to it?
Yeah. If I may, I know I talked a lot already, but for Ether Legends, you have the multiverse with Engine, which I think the beauty of blockchain in general is that look at it as a public database. So if you own an asset on CryptoKitties, or you own an asset on Chibi Fighters, or whatever it is that you own, any game can create a mechanic to bring in and make that asset usable. Obviously, with permission and collaboration is preferred, but even without. So if I wanted to bring in a CryptoKitty and have that represented on a trading card, I absolutely could do that. So I think the concept with Engine's multiverse is that's exactly what they're trying to do with one asset in multiple games, and then grow that collaboration. And I think the bounds are endless on how you do that. We've done multiple collaborations with not just Engine games, but other games where we've had assets that are usable in, whether it's Grasshopper Farms, my Metaverse, or other things. And then likewise, we take their assets and we can utilize those in our game as well to display them as trading cards or characters that have certain stats. And really, the sky's the limit. And I'll shut up. Thanks.
Yeah, no, that was definitely great. We only have, I think, 2 of you at the moment that are able to speak. So whatever we can get definitely helps. I don't know if you have anything else to add as far as your game goes. You there, Egrode? I think we have another one AFK. All right then. Yeah, like he said, I don't want to stick to one person. I don't know. Do we have anybody else on here? I'm taking a quick 5. Or
Yeah, I see Agro's video up. I don't know if he can hear or not.
no idea. Sorry, I don't want us to drag on. Like I said, we do have quite a bit more chat in the chat from Yespa as far as Mythereum goes. Quite a bit of info as far as their game and their development progress on there. Oh, looks like it's just us 2 left. So I don't know if anyone.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so they're refreshing and reloading, so should be back in just a minute.
All right. All right. Thank you.
Hey, I do want to mention, you can definitely play the physical game, but you have to wear a mask and remain 6 feet apart.
Definitely good information. You're just gonna have to throw the cards very far in front of you, and then
That's right.
pick them up. Luckily, they come with a hard case, little thing to keep them safe. So you feel free to go down to like the beach or something, whip them on some sand or some grass, some dirt.
That's right.
Yeah, I want to jump in, and if anybody has any questions, now's a pretty good time. If you had some thoughts on anything, I had a question actually. I'd like to talk a little bit more about the virtual land space, and then like a platform like Decentraland, and like taking an NFT that I've acquired on another platform and putting it into my plot on Decentraland. Like, what are your all's thoughts on that? I guess like creating that new layer of, I'm not only collecting the NFT, but I'm also like putting it in my virtual home and things like that. Like, where do y'all see that going? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I definitely find it to be interesting, and part of why I brought it up, as I was saying, I kind of compare like Decentraland, Somnium Space as like the 2 big ones for like digital crypto land ownership. And I definitely think, as a lot of people have been saying, sky's the limit once people really get this technology unlocked as far as like Somnium Space, because I know they actually have their VR already done and like ready to go. They have like a planetarium in there that you can get tickets for with their crypto token and actually go and see like a live show. And then with, some of these assets, kind of like what I was trying to talk about earlier with Reality Clash, if you could import, say, some of those games like, an FPS to VR, and then you have digital gun skins or whatever as assets to be able to convert into, 3D virtual guns that you can, actually carry around and keep holstered and use within the games. My big question on that, I doubt does anyone probably be able to answer at the moment because of how new it is, but like where the market would go for that as far as like selling the assets and trading them. I know with Mythereum, when it was active with the CryptoKitties, being able to convert them into a Mythereum card, you could then sell those specific cards back onto the marketplace, and then it kind of adds a different layer of like what you can offer with a CryptoKitty if you can then say that it's able to be converted into a trading card, so that way you're not just staring at this picture but actually adding it to your deck and battling with it and then upgrading it and selling it. Then obviously with some of these trading card games, they could most likely quite easily virtualize those into like a 3D, like a card you could pick up and play like an actual card game with your virtual avatar, which I'd say would be quite a step closer to kind of like the physical form, actually getting together and having your deck on you and pulling it out and whatever. Except we're all staying 6 feet apart at least in that case.
This time I had to reload.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, sorry about that. I was trying to answer so the last question I heard was something to the effect of, are we going to go incorporate all these gadgets, gizmos, and cool new things? And I ultimately, what we've been doing is really trying to become a cross-blockchain platform. So yeah, we'll keep posting all of our transactions on Hive and use that as sort of like the main repository. But what we've been doing is integrating, we integrated with the Wombat wallet, and that's an EOS tool. So now if you want, you go to Splinterlands and you sign in with Wombat, and for a user of EOS, it just feels like you're coming in from EOS. We did the same thing with Tron Link, so now you can just sign in using Tron Link, and you just come in like you're a normal Tron user. And then we also did the same thing with Wax. So you have your Wax All Access, you come in and you sign up. We're releasing MetaMask, so you sign into Splinterlands with MetaMask, and then the next one will be Arcane. And so before we get to all like the really cool stuff of VR tools and other ways that we bridge NFTs from one place to another, like we're just starting at the smaller parts of it's a little bit more manageable to try to bridge these communities and making it so that the players just feel like, oh, I'm just logging in with the tools that I'm used to. And I think that goes a long way.
So building out the local ecosystem versus, because you got to build that first. I mean, I'm trying to do a big picture here, I guess, but building out your own ecosystem first to where it's more seamless, then branching out to take that, let's say that NFT or that collectible into the VR space, into where it really starts taking off from that standpoint, is the way I see it, right?
Yeah, I mean, because look, I'm super proud of where we've gotten. We got that 7,000 accounts in a day, and that's killing it. And I'm super proud. But like, you got to stay humble because it's still like 9 a.m. to 9:05 a.m. on Fortnite. Like it's like literally everything we've done falls into like the dust threshold for some of these other games. And so, we're really focused on building our community and trying to get as many players just into the ecosystem as possible and start scaling. Hopefully we'll have some nice, we're starting to run ads on Brave, and maybe there'll be some other partnerships available there too. But, we really just want to see lots of gamers. And, it's kind of, I come from a sales background. I worked for a big publishing company for a decade. And one of the best lessons in sales that I ever learned is that if you want somebody to do something, you have to make it as easy as humanly possible for them to do it. So in this case, we want them to come, we want them to play, we want them to enjoy themselves. And if we're telling them, yes, but you have to do it this way, that's not as good as saying, we have done everything we can on our end to make sure that your experience is seamless. So if you want to use Google as your sign-in, go ahead. You want to use Arcane, go ahead. EOS, whatever, it doesn't matter. We'll just use whatever tool you yourself want to use.
And I would add on to that too. Onboarding is absolutely crucial, and choice and ease of onboarding. But I do want to tie back on kind of that cross-chain usability, which is, one of the most important things about that is that if you give a player value, if I own one asset, I mean, just think about it like this. If I own a Fortnite token, I was just going to make something up, and I want to go play World of Warcraft, or I want to go play 10 other games, I can't take anything from Fortnite and go play that. So I really think the value of cross-chain or even cross-asset collaboration is huge, because it opens the value for the player to be able to take one asset and play multiple games, which means they're not spending additional money trying to, buy a different game or get locked into some other system. So that scalability aspect and that benefit to the gamers and players around is going to be huge the more people do that. And that kind of goes into your, sandbox, decentral,
Run for the Unicorns 2020 virtually,
etc.
Yep. So I think that those kinds of things will come, and we'll get there, and it's going to be a better experience than what players have really had advantages to. I want to be cautious because these games are the games are like this weird mix of decentralized and still private companies. So like we exist as businesses, and there's no way that we exist if we're not able to sell products. So whereas I want to be able to bring in other games assets into my game, and actually one of the ways that we look to do that is by incorporating payment methods. So for example, we just allowed for us to pay out tournaments in ERC20 tokens. So GameCredits.org is Game Credits is an old school project on Ethereum. They're one of the first gaming-centric tokens to exist, and now our system can both accept that for payment and dole that out as a reward in a tournament. And that's like a relatively new feature for us, but I think that really opens up the possibility of how we can do these cross-chain things. Everybody from Game Credit benefits because they have a no use case for their utility. We benefit because all those people that are holders now have a new place to spend it, and hopefully they'll bring that value to our game. But what it's not doing is it's like if I just allow every single object from every single game into my game, then it's going to be difficult for us to sell things. And so we exist as a business by selling things. So it's the kind of thing where I want those in my game and I want to give them utility. I just have to be cautious that I also have to have my own in-game content that is exclusive to my game, or that is like the main driver of your success in my game. And all of these other things are cool and useful, but a little bit on the ancillary side so that I can still run and manage a business.
Yes, I think that's definitely well said. I don't know if we have any questions from the audience. I didn't see any other ones left in the chat. I don't know if someone can...
Yeah, just a reminder, if you do want to ask a question, you can hit the raise hand button, bottom left-hand corner, and then you can ask that question via audio, or you can type it into text, bottom right-hand corner, just hit the chat bubble. We'd love to get some more questions for sure. And I'm sorry for asking another. Can I ask another question? Is it okay?
Yeah, that's no problem at all.
All right. I don't know how you could split this up, but on your all's platforms, what is maybe the split between collectors versus traders versus investors? I'm very fascinated by that because I think there's an entire world of those three.
I'm not hearing anybody else, so I'll go first. So Splinterlands does something that's pretty unique. We allow our cards to be rented. And so we give out a lot of prizes. Every single match you win, you can win some dark energy crystals, which is our in-game cryptocurrency. Every single day there's a quest, and if you complete the quest, you can get some rewards cards. There's a season. At the end of the season, you get a big rewards loot haul. And then we have tournaments, and to date, we've given out like $140,000 worth of tournament prizes. So we give out a lot of money in prizes, and what that means is that the players, I have like a set of players. One set of players likes to own and hold cards, and they treat them like digital assets in that they just sit there and lease them. They don't care too much about the game per se. They just want to own the cards and rent them out to other players. And then I have players that are typically younger and might even be from some third world countries where they don't have as much wealth, and so what they want is they'll rent the cards and then use that to go earn what is literally more than their monthly salary by playing this game. So I have the full spectrum there of people that buy. They buy it, like our top 10 holders in the game. If you want to be in the top 10, you have to own $30,000 worth of cards. So this is not people that look at this as just entertainment money. These are folks that look at this as a scarce digital asset that they can hold for a long period of time, or that they can rent, or that they expect if we are successful in our mission of mainstreaming gamers, that because of the collectability, they have high hopes for where their assets will go. So that's on one side. On the other side, we have the players that have nothing, but now because they can rent, we had a player that wrote an article about spending $12 in rental fees in a 2-week period and making it into the top 50. And so it's just, we have players across that whole spectrum of renter to holder and player. And I don't know, to me, it's a win that we're able to attract players of all these different socioeconomic backgrounds and all these countries. And some see it as a way for passive revenue, and some see it as a way to play something that earns them a living and actually provides the food on their table.
No, thanks for the explanation. Kern, do you have anything to add?
I think for the most part, I would say we have a lot of collectors. The artwork and the scarcity of some of the items is low. The artwork is really amazing. My buddy of many years, world-renowned artist Mark Moody, he's been doing this a long time, but his contributions have really made a lot of this possible. So I think you have a lot of the collectors. I think the staking part of it, especially with DeFi, we have it on our roadmap. But a lot of that is contingent on the engine ecosystem and the feeless aspects that go along with that, on what we're looking to do from a rewards standpoint. I'll say more staking than it is renting, but you could probably call them the same thing. And then investor-wise, we do also have our own ERC20 token, which grants utility in what I mentioned before about fusing cards together, like forging. If you take one NFT and another, it does require a ERC20, which is our kind of gaming currency. So I think it's a mix. I think everybody, wants to, get reimbursed for their time that they put in. So I think it's more than just the assets. But when they play the game, it's the time spent and what do you get out of that? So I think there's multiple layers of investment, of collection, of playing the game, where all these things simultaneously can offer a player the benefit of rewards.
No, thanks for answering that question, because that comes up in my mind a lot, kind of splicing it into those three parts, trader, investor, and a player. Because and sometimes it can be you can be all three, which is really interesting. Like you said, doing what you love by playing a game you love, essentially. I mean, in the end, right? So it's different than 10 years ago.
Yep, exactly.
I'll pass it back to Brian. Sorry, I had some questions.
Yeah, no, that's no problem at all. That was pretty much everything for me. You guys definitely covered most of what I had asked. And then as far as Jesper, all of his comments and content are over in the public chat. So definitely feel free to go over there and read all that. And yeah, unless there's any other crowd questions or chat comments questions, then that's
or if you have a comment, this is an interesting comment from chat. If you go down bottom right hand corner, click the text bubble. This is from Crobert. Hopefully I'm saying that right. In a recent Twitter survey, Splinterlands players answered the question, what is your favorite thing about Splinterlands? 40% battling, 11% markets, 28% rewards, 24% collecting. I find that fascinating just to see those numbers.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I don't know if anyone else on here, if Jesper has any stats like that from when the game was active or whatnot, but it's always very interesting to hear what people are really interested in, as aspects of the game.
Yeah, it's fun because that's like a mix of I'm here to go for the competitive spirit of the game and the like trickiness of the ecosystem of how they battle and how you put up your teams. There's some that are just here to like flip cards. We have a bunch of players that like to buy cards low and sell them high, and the market cap of the cards total is over $4 million. So we have, and there's a lot of activity. We have like $3,000 to 10 to. On low days, it's like 3 to 5. On medium days, we're doing 5 to 10,000, and in strong market days, there's over $10,000 in player-to-player transactions. And there's whole like automated bots for trading. So there's a bunch of dudes that just like to sit around and swap the cards. And I know one guy that's made over $80,000 by waiting for whales to kind of rage quit from the game, buy their decks, and sometimes they'll even just sell their decks back to them at a profit. So the rewards are the people that are really there to just like earn. So there's folks that are looking to earn money by playing this game, and that's a big part to them. And then we have a whole piece that just are like, the silver folks and the gold folks that just like to collect coins. They might have stamp collections or all kinds of little collections that they keep. And Splinterlands just falls into that list of what they like holding. So yeah, we really run the gambit in terms of who's in the game and what's their motivation for being there.
Yeah, for sure, definitely, and the game definitely has its great aspects, and I've played it for quite a while myself, and yeah, I can definitely see why. As far as the crypto games right now, which as you mentioned, even with 7,000 daily users, is a drop in the bucket as opposed to a lot of these AAA game developer studio titles. But the crypto gaming market is still extremely niche at the moment, as well as just the amount of people that actually know what it is and the opportunities that it holds, and the games that are currently out for it. So hopefully once more people start to realize that these games are out here, we'll begin seeing another much larger influx of users. As far as from Jesper, just at the end of this, I know he was saying that the tournaments and strategy prep was the key community focus when his game was active. I definitely had quite a large hand in playing it. I was very active. I had a decent-sized guild when my community was a bit more active in the gaming side of things. I think like 30-something members. You had like gold production, produce production, like stone and wood and whatever, and you could build up your wall and then challenge other, guilds and whatnot. And then you would have the tournaments, they'd have weekly tournaments, card, battles with different amounts of pots and legendary cards and whatnot. So, yeah, a lot of great content over there. Planning on coming out with the 2.0. You can also see most of this in the chat if you head over there. But, yeah, that was definitely one of my favorite crypto games when it was active and when I was a lot more active in it and whatnot. So definitely wishing for the best over there. I don't know if we have anything else that anyone wants to add before this panel officially closes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. No, I just wanted to thank everybody for setting this up. A shout out to Jared and Andrew for getting this together. I think it's been awesome, an awesome experience, and I appreciate the invite to talk to people. I would close in saying I think a lot of us as indie developers are really the trailblazers. So the AAA games can have a free pass in the next few years to come on board. But I appreciate everybody's support and thank you.
Great to be here. First off, kudos to the Gamer Job people. This is a cool platform, and kudos to Silica Nexus for hooking up with them. Come check out our game, Splinterlands.com. We're always looking for more players, and hopefully we can find some good hardcore gamers and collectors. And we have a Discord, so if you go to discord.splinterlands.com, that's the best place to kind of join this community.
Yeah, definitely jump into chat, you guys, and post your community links to Twitter. If you scroll up, I posted your all's Twitters, but feel free to repost those to refresh it on the chat, as well as the Discords or any other place that we can connect with you all. Because that's right now. I think it is about, like you said earlier, it's about building community within your ecosystem and building the player base. So. Yeah, any other question? Feel free to jump in on audio. I had one last question, if that's okay, if you're ahead of time, or if you guys had to head out.
I have to pick up my daughter, so if I can answer first, and then I'll hop out.
Yeah, no worries. Obviously, traditional trading cards like NBA cards are exploding. So for me, I feel a trickle down to NFTs. And I don't know if I'm looking at that correctly. If I know it's a very broad statement, I do find it very interesting that, I don't really see much of a difference from traditional sports cards to NFT collectibles, and I think that's going to pull the NFT up.
Well, everything that we've built in Splinterlands, I think, can be applicable to any collecting game. So whether it's maybe in the future we'll make a partnership with companies like Disney or Marvel, and hopefully in that version you're collecting the Hulk and Captain America and Wolverine. Maybe it would be like a music collecting game, and you would get Justin Timberlake, or maybe we can do a sports collecting game, sort of like a fantasy football or fantasy baseball kind of thing, where now you're collecting, Tom Brady's or LeBron James. But we built this system where you can digitize, tokenize, and monetize intellectual property, and we're really not limited to just our orcs and elves and wizards. Like, it can really be any kind of content. So I think it's only really a matter of time before people want to reach a global digital audience and use cryptocurrency because it's so damn convenient, and they want to be able to have ownership, which is through NFTs. And we just kind of have to get through, sludge through a little bit of these opening stages. But as more and more people realize the benefits of these things, like the transparency, the fungibility, the market size, the 24/7 access, the speed, the trustlessness, you don't have to worry, is that card a counterfeit or not? Like, all that stuff is just what makes this technology so powerful. And yes, you have to watch your keys, but ultimately it's a pretty small ask for quite a lot of benefits. And I only see this space getting bigger.